All right, hello and welcome, Marines. Something, speaking like an army because we're in the space army of Halo. We're playing Halo today, guys. Hey, nice to meet you.
Wait, no, hold on. We need to do this bit, actually, because that's going to be really funny. Hold on, you can say, rise and shine, greenhorns. Rise and shine, panty wastes. It's time to, Rise and shine, panty wastes, and listen up. Today we're talking about Halo Combat Evolved, a game for real soldiers. That's pretty good. You should do that or make up your own.
All right,
and then say something
you know
that I can say. Hoorah! As a response to.
Listen up, Leathernecks. We're here to play some Halo today. Can I get a hoorah?
Hoorah!
Well, that was neither of those are going in, except both of those are going in before the opening theme song. Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
And I'm Maddie. I'm Maddie 136.
Yeah, I am the hushed Allman.
Isn't it crazy how even things such as the name of the character we're playing are like, you have to read the books?
Yeah. It's good. I love this fucking game, and I'm excited to talk with you people about it. This is our first ever Shortcast, which is a podcast where we play most of a non-RPG and talk about it over 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah, Shortcast referring to the number of episodes, not to the length of episodes.
Yes. This one may be short because nothing happens in the first half of Halo, but we wanted...
But the idea of Shortcast is like, we pick a game. It's the same shit, but it's a game that'll take like 2 episodes instead of like 7. Yeah. Also, we're not restricting ourselves to RPGs.
Yeah, because
we wanted to play Halo.
Yeah, we wanted to play Halo, and I really want to play The Last of Us, so The Last of Us will probably be our second Shortcast. So...
Hell yeah,
there's a spoiler for a long time from now because we got a long cast in between. But, yeah. So, thanks to all of our Ko-Fi contributors. We launched this one when we raised our first $200 on Ko-Fi. So it's all because of you guys that we get to do this, and it's awesome.
Hell yeah, bitch.
And,
thanks, folks.
Yeah, the game is great. So, fun fact.
So Eli won't be joining us today. As just like our other episode with Lost Odyssey, he's really going through a rough time right now and needed to take a week off, which is 100% awesome, and we respect that.
Yeah.
He probably lucked out because this is gonna me and Sam like Halo a lot.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
A whole lot.
We're gonna be huge nerds about it, and it probably would have driven him insane. So now he can just listen to it and hopefully get less insane and join us next week for the back half.
Yeah, for the plot half of the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. The front half is like actually great if you're into weird military sci-fi and lore, and 2 of the 3 people on this podcast are into that dumb shit. Whereas the back half, I think Eli will hopefully Eli will find actually interesting and good.
Yeah.
So,
definitely. Well, yeah. So the day that you guys hear this, not today, but the day that you will hear this, will be November 9th, also called 11/9, also called the release of Halo 2, which was the first gaming-related holiday, basically, that I ever remember experiencing. Like, after
the funny thing is that's not just us. Like, that is a very common experience among many people our age. They're like, that are gamers. Even if they're not as big of Halo fans as me, they're like, oh yeah, Halo fans. That Halo 2, that's November 9th.
Yeah. And like, it was one of those things where I was like trying to plot out our winter on when we would record stuff, and I was like, okay, well, for Halo, when could we do it? I'm like, oh shit, we could drop it on 11.9, and I just hadn't even thought of 11.9 since like high school, but here we are. And,
I think about it every year.
Yeah.
11.9 is Halo 2. September 25th is Halo 3, and I don't remember this one normally, but Halo 1 is November 15th,
which is where we'll drop the second episode. Will be
the game is going to be 18 years old in a week.
Yeah, which is nuts. But,
yeah.
So when this game came out, GoldenEye was as good as we got in the first-person shooter land, and it's hard to go back to GoldenEye. Like, Halo really changed the entire game, and going to first-person shooters before Halo is almost impossible.
I would say that GoldenEye is nigh unplayable today, and that might make you be like, what? Come on. Like, it's just in comparison to Halo. But you know what? I could never play GoldenEye, actually.
Yeah.
Back when it was the only game on the market, I could never get a handle on the control scheme. Me and my brothers and cousins would play it, and I would just be running around not knowing how to aim up or down, not knowing how to use both of my hands at once. So you could say that so even by the standards of the time, it didn't really work. Halo, people who are ahistorical jerks will say that Halo, the only thing that makes Halo good is that it was the game that figured out how to make FPS games work on a console. That is garbage. Yeah. That is bullshit. It's not like Halo got there first, and if someone else got there first, that game would have been Halo. No, Halo is a great fucking video game by any standard.
Yeah.
If it was on the PC, it'd be a great game.
Yeah. And hopefully it will be on the PC soon, because Master Chief Collection is supposed to launch by the end of the year, but I haven't heard anything since they did the beta test for Reach. But if that becomes the thing, I will play a lot of Halos.
Yeah. But, hell yeah. Halo is, to give a little bit of context in case you want it, by an old school PC developer, Bungie. They're actually one of those few developers making games for Mac, which is funny. They made a trio of shooters called Marathon, and these games are like
up surprisingly well.
They are, and you can get all of them for free off of Bungie's website. Mm-hmm. Bungie's just like, yeah, we released a real game. You can just download them. Oh, and if you have a PC, here's like a Mac like emulation box, or that you can They basically give you everything you need to play their classic games on their website, which is awesome.
Yeah. Around
the time Halo 3 came out, they did that.
Yeah. And what's
anyway,
just as another aside about Marathon, is I found out when Halo 3 was coming out, they put it up on their website, and the box that they have specifically only runs Marathon in a Mac environment. It's called M1A1.
That's great,
because named after the tank. But it's good.
That's great.
Love that shit.
But yeah, so Marathon 1, 2, and 3, they're very old school shooters. We're talking like
they're Doom-likes.
Let's see, what level? Yeah, they're obviously more advanced than Doom, but they're definitely not at the level of they're maybe in the level of Quake, or so. And they have great writing and great, just fantastic stories.
Yeah.
And honestly, level design in Marathon 1, I don't love. I think it's mediocre, basically. But whatever, the writing is amazing, and that's kind of how they made a name for themselves.
Yeah, and it was really cool, because, all of the writing was optional, because no one had writing in their first-person shooters at the time, but, the first time someone found it, they're like, no, this shit's good. Everybody, every time you see a computer, go read the computer. It's great. And it was awesome.
Yeah, the plot's really, really good. And then they made Marathon Durandal and Marathon Infinity. And then, then they made Myth, which is a real-time tactics series. I think there's one or two of them. I have not actually played Myth. I'm sure they're great.
I hadn't heard of it, actually.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're great. And then Halo was their big next game they were working on, their big magnum opus, and it went through many iterations. Yeah. Third-person strategy game, third-person shooter with strategy elements, then eventually first-person shooter, and then eventually, instead of being on Mac, it went not just to console, but to a Microsoft console, which is hilarious, and came out. And even though Xbox did not sell a lot of units, it blew everyone's damn mind. And my first impression upon replaying this game is, unlike Halo 2, which, as we discussed off recording, kind of invented the raw, exciting Hollywood blockbuster shooter, this game is still old school nerd shit.
Yeah, 100%.
And I like not not just from a plot standpoint, but from design standpoint too. Design is like, you want to explore a big environment and be mostly left to your own devices to engage in systems. This is the game. It's that old school style of game. It's not like set pieces like modern shooters, right? Yeah. Halo 2 invented that.
Yeah, Halo 1 had a little bit of it, because the level I played just now, because I was playing like moments before we started recording, but it's the first time when they send 2 hunters at you before they give you the rocket launcher to take care of them. Like, there's a couple of set piece type things like that, and then there's the one where they revealed that elites have cloaking. Like, there's those 2 set pieces, but it's not like every level is a set piece like Halo 2 is. Like, yeah,
the levels are still largely like more like environments and sort of maze-like, and you work your way through them like more of a classic shooter, and that's really refreshing. Anyway, so that's just the context. That's what Halo is. That's why we love it with our whole goddamn hearts. And let's get started.
Yeah. So this music you're about to hear is some of the best video game music, and I don't just say this because I'm a Halo fan. I say this because like, it's great, and
everyone agrees. Halo music slaps.
Yeah, and it's fucking great. Marty O'Donnell is a real one. I was playing Halo Anniversary, and in the Silent Cartographer they used the Halo theme Mjolnir mix from Halo 2. I was like, this is sacrilege. Halo 1 has no electric instruments. What is this bullshit?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
But I still rocked out because that song is fucking lit, so I'm not mad. But yeah, we'll listen to some classic Halo songs, and then we will start talking about some troop movements and shit. Take us away, Maddie. What starts this game?
I forgot to write down the manual plot overview, so I'm gonna go grab it real fast.
Oh yeah, yes. This game is definitely old school because
that's one of its old school. Because the thing is, old school nerd shit, old school PC nerd shit. They expected that if you bought a video game for consoles were considered like for kids, right? Mm-hmm. But PCs were like for 20 or 30-year-old dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they were for parents. Like those classic RPGs like Ultima and stuff, those were like dorky dads were into that shit. So when you buy an old school game on the PC, they're expecting you to be committed from the get-go and to read the whole fucking manual.
Exactly.
Sorry, I actually grabbed the wrong manual. I grabbed the Lost Odyssey manual. Shit, sorry.
It's okay. Speaking of Halo manuals, I think it was for my copy of Halo 3, came with like a leather-bound, it's actually like cardboard-bound, but it's made to look leather-bound, like just field guide that was like written in universe, in character, of everyone jotting notes about all of the fucking aliens and shit. And
do you remember Halo 2 Special Editions manual?
I don't think so. I don't think I had the
Halo 2 Special Edition, which is before game Special Editions really got crazy, so the most expensive edition was just like a steelbook. Uh-huh. It had an entirely different manual than the normal game.
Oh, it was in the Covenant language?
It was written from the enemy's point of view.
Yeah.
So the part of the game that's telling you about the different bad guy types is like, these are our soldiers. Uh-huh. And then the part about Master Chief is like, this is the bad guy, the demon. We hate him.
Yeah.
It was so fucking good. Anyway, so Halo's manual, you open it up. It's a very beautiful, glossy. I mean, Microsoft put a lot of effort into it. They knew they had something special on their hands. Not going to read the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It's like 6 paragraphs. But so the year is 2552. And basically, it's a decent amount in the future. Earth, it's like enough in the future where like Earth is still the center of Earth's of the human civilization, but but they're colonizing all these other worlds, but none of them are like on the level of Earth, not even close.
Yeah.
The biggest one is Reach. So Reach is a planet that is a pretty big. The rest of them are more like just outposts, you know. So you've got Earth, Reach, and then a bunch of bullshit. One of these days, there's this colony called Harvest a long way away, and all of a sudden they lose contact with it, and they go to find out what happens, and they all get blown up. And turns out this is humans' first contact ever with aliens. They've met, so first contact with aliens is a violent one. There's this group of aliens called the Covenant. It's an association of multiple different alien races brought together under the same religion. So these are a religious race, and they have extreme religious fervor. And I'll just read what it says here. Covenant religious elders declared humanity an affront to the gods, and the Covenant warrior caste, which is the elites, waged a holy war upon humanity with gruesome diligence. So these people aren't after land or oil, they are after extermination, yeah. And we dived a lot deeper into that in Halo 2. Turns out the religion and politics is very cool and interesting. But in this game, it's just the backdrop.
Yeah. Which
so
I was surprised about, because like it becomes such a core part of Halo 2 that going back to Halo 1, I'm like, this is a lot of like troop movements for the first half of the game.
You can you can think about it two ways. One way you could think about it is that they legitimately thought about all this stuff after they made Halo 1, but I mean, Bungie is known for their super elaborate stories. I bet they were like, look, we don't know if this game's going to be a hit, but we hope it will be. Here's what's actually going to happen with the plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This game does stand on its own, though, which is nice.
Which is why it's here on Shortcast and not just a normal episode where we play all three games.
So anyway, the war goes on for 25 years, and the humans are just getting absolutely annihilated. I'm kind of reading my stuff I know from the books a little bit as well. Like, the Covenant have way better technology. They don't stand a chance. They're just getting their asses kicked. That's it. Then this guy named Cole, this is the part that's important for the manual. This guy named Admiral Cole establishes a thing called the Cole Protocol, which is no vessel may inadvertently lead the Covenant to Earth. When forced to withdraw, ships must avoid Earthbound vectors, even if that means jumping without proper navigational calculations. He says jumping, they do a thing called slip space. It's like hyperspace. Vessels in danger of capture must self-destruct. So the Cole Protocol says, if you're in a fight with the Covenant, you cannot retreat and go to Earth. Because if the Covenant find out where Earth is, they will kill all of us. Yeah. So that's the number one thing. We have to guard the location of Earth with our goddamn lives. And if you can't do that, self-destruct. So anyway, next paragraph. This paragraph is very carefully worded, I noticed. On Reach, a secret military project to create cyborg super soldiers takes on newfound importance. The soldiers of the Spartan 2 project rack up an impressive record against the Covenant in test deployments, but there are too few of them to turn the tide of the war. So basically, you play the hero, Master Chief Petty Officer John 117. If you just play this game, you just know him as the Master Chief. But he is a cyborg super soldier. He is, not only is he genetically enhanced, but he also wears an exoskeleton. And he's genetically enhanced, trained from childhood, and has a cyborg exoskeleton that makes him extremely powerful, called the Spartan Mark II, no, the Mjolnir Mark IV armor. And he's a Spartan 2, which is, he's the second of, there was previously a Spartan 1 program, you assume. But notice the wording. A secret military project to create cyborg super soldiers takes on newfound importance.
Yeah, that word, newfound, is where they found how to write the plot for Halo 4.
Yeah, so you might have thought that, the humans decided to create cyborg super soldiers to fight the Covenant. No. The cyborg super soldiers were already a thing.
Yeah.
They just... Which is fortunate.
Yeah.
You might wonder, if they were not created to fight the evil Covenant, what were they created for? I won't tell you.
Go play Halo 4 if you can figure it out.
You'll have to go play the other Halo games and read the books.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. They weren't created for good reasons.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. This game... So here we already see one of the themes of the game, which is that the entire plot hinges on extremely ironic coincidences. this series traffics in dramatic irony a lot.
Yeah.
Or more like cosmic irony, right? So anyway, it's just like, oh, good thing we were already making these super soldiers.
Yep.
So anyway, so the last like 3 years or so, or maybe like 2 years, they've actually been maybe managing to turn the tide. After 25 years of just like, we're losing. They decide, okay, we're going to get all the Spartans. There's only 52 of them. We're going to hang out at the planet Reach. We're all going to board a Covenant ship, steal it, find out where the Covenant homeworld is, go to the Covenant homeworld is with just our 52 people, and kick their ass. This is their last chance gambit. Again, this is not a back and forth war. This is, they've been losing for 25 years. Humanity is on the verge of extinction. They have their last chance gambit to win the war. But what happens the day before they launch their big mission? The Covenant attacks Reach, kills all of the Spartans. The only one to escape, that's not really true if you read the books. The only one to escape is the Pillar of Autumn, which is a ship, Halcyon-class battleship, with the only last remaining existing Spartan 2. It makes a blind jump, that's not true, because of the Cole Protocol, into deep space, thinking, God, like, they just killed all of us. We gotta leave the Covenant away from Earth. We don't have a plan. We're just escaping. That's it. So that's the intro to the game.
Yeah.
So the game opens, even though the game opens calmly, it's actually very in media res.
Yeah.
So as the game opens, and we will be going faster from here on, I promise. But that shit's important. So the game opens on a shot of a planet, and in front of that planet is a large ring. If you've read the name of the game, you might think, maybe that's a Halo.
They take their sweet ass time, like, saying, oh, the thing we're on is Halo in this game, as if we didn't read the box and see a floating ring in outer space.
And if you ever read sci-fi, you might know that the idea of a ring world is sort of an existing idea. It's a trope in science fiction, the idea of an artificial world that is, instead of the shape of a sphere, the shape of a ring, where the actual planet part is on the inside of the ring. So you're like, oh, that's interesting. It's a ring world. Anyway, we pan to a big ship that looks cool called the Pillar of Autumn. It plays the space chord. We then meet the captain of the ship, and he is wondering, he's basically looking out, and he says, we made a blind jump. How'd they get here first? So apparently, even though they made a blind jump, the Covenant were there first. Cortana explains, look, the Covenant ships are better than us. We tried to escape, but they, like, calculated where we were going, and then beat us to the punch, right? So even though they just tried to escape from the Covenant are already there. We just got out of hyperspace and we're already about to be in battle. He's like, how long till they get here? She's like, I don't know, like 90 seconds. And he's like, okay, evacuate the goddamn ship. And also, let's give our old friend a warm welcome. And she says, I've already begun. That's not her voice. Anyway, so then all the soldiers start preparing for battle. There's a lot of shots of tanks and stuff like that.
Also, we see Cortana here at this part, and it's important that she is
you guys talk about who Cortana is.
Yeah, she is the shipboard AI. She is a blue holographic lady, and the original Halo one, she is purple, but that is the only time she's been purple. So in my heart of hearts, she is blue. And she is at the shipboard AI, and the next part we learn about her is in a second. But yeah, that's what we learn right now. She's
so the captain of this ship, who has just a very military looking gruff guy, is talking with a blue lady who apparently runs the whole ship. And you know, he'll ask her a question, and she'll like pause for a second, and you can tell she's like doing huge calculations in her head. You know what I mean? So anyway, everyone prepare for battle.
Also, the voice actress for Cortana is the best one in this whole game. Like,
she is one of the best. She is one of the best performances in video game history.
Yeah,
Cortana is wonderful.
Yeah, like her and Master Chief in this game are great, but I think Master Chief is great because he's dry and not that good, but it works for his character. But like,
I gotta say, for a game that came out in 2001, this game has stellar voice acting across the board.
Yeah, it had
none of
optional
it is like
subtitles in 2001, which is ridiculous.
None of it is like, none of the voice acting is like good for a video game. Like, no, it's like as good as any like sci-fi channel
Yeah.
TV show or movie. Like it's good. It's good writing.
Yeah.
Which again for 2001 is kind of weird. We're used to saying that like that was good for a video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just has it's crazy. So anyway, the writing and voice acting is just, and Captain Keyes I find extremely memorable and excellent as well. So anyway, she's super cool and she goes and starts preparing everyone for battle. We get a brief shot of an unnamed character who will later become named Sergeant Johnson, who's everyone's damn favorite. We'll talk about him more later.
Right now we just hear him like hoorahing the troops, getting them hyped up.
Yep. So then our boy wakes up. Some nerdy-looking engineers are typing on a computer, and the computer says, "Unseal the hushed casket." The reason it says that, instead of just like open the fucking cryo chamber, is because this is a Bungie game.
Yep.
And Bungie always finds ways to make things sound really portentous. It's weird. It's a weird quirk they have. I love it.
Yeah, it's
so they unseal.
Like, notice the name of the ship isn't like Fireball. It's the Pillar of Autumn.
The Pillar of Autumn, which is amazing.
We,
so anyway,
we go to one
the
shortly that's truth and reconciliation. Like everything is just sounds like Bungie.
Yeah. So anyway, they unseal the hushed casket, and our boy wakes up from cryosleep. He was in cryosleep because they were gonna go on a big old journey to the Covenant homeworld, and that didn't happen. So he's probably been in cryosleep for like a week. He wakes up. We don't get a controls tutorial because we're playing on heroic. We then run through the ship. There's lots of there's all these explosions. There's you keep running through all these scenes of our boys in blue. Wait, that's the word we use for cops. Never mind, they're bad.
Our green berets.
Our soldiers are fighting the aliens. We don't have a gun or anything, so we're just running through it. And then a guy says, "Sir, the captain needs you on the bridge, ASAP. Better follow me." That's the exact line. Yep. I remember all of these lines from memory. So then you get to the bridge, and Keyes says, basically he says, "Dude, we're trying to hold them off, but we're not." Oh, and then you learn the captain's name, because Master Chief shows up and says, "Captain Keyes," which is his first line of dialogue in the game,
and one of his last.
Yeah, that's going to be a recurring bit for me. So he has his first line of dialogue, "Captain Keyes," and the captain is like, "We're trying to hold them off. We're not succeeding. The battle's going to be over real soon." Right then, a huge plasma blast breaches the shields, and oh, hold on.
So right around now, at least, is when Keyes is like, "Okay, well, Cortana, you know the Cole Protocol, so they're going to come and kill us, but you can't be here when that happens. So download yourself to this SIM card and shove yourself in Master Chief's cell phone and get the fuck out of here."
Oh, well, even though I said it was going to be a bit, I totally forgot to write it down. So anyway, Cortana looks at Halo, and she says something like "Good morning," or "Welcome, glad you're awake," and he goes, "No thanks to your driving," and she goes, "So you did miss me." So that's his second line of dialogue in the entire game, and his. Never mind, we're not quite there yet. So Cortana, being the entire goddamn ship's computer, has the location of Earth in her head.
Yeah.
And everything else. All their human strategy is all up in there. So Keyes is like, we can't let her get this. So your mission is... So Master Chief's main mission, actually, right now is escape, don't yourself die. Yeah. Because Cortana is inside of you right now, and that's it.
Yeah.
If
you die, shoot yourself in the back of the head first.
Yeah, protecting Cortana is your job. So you start to escape, and then you actually start playing through the level. It develops, it's really cool, you learn how to do things like jump, and you learn how to use grenades, stuff like that. Eventually the lights start going on and off more and more stuff starts being on fire. So far we're only fighting grunts and elites, there's no other enemy types yet. Eventually you see you see a big window, and all the lifeboats are getting shot out of their hatches, but then the Covenant are blowing up the lifeboats, and we're like, fuck. We gotta get out of here as soon as possible. And that's it. You go through the level. And then you go to the very last lifeboat and you throw in, and Cortana says, we gotta leave. And then, as you're going down in the lifeboat, you and Cortana and a bunch of other Marines and just a lady who's driving the lifeboat, you're descending towards Halo. And you... Oh, yeah, also, earlier, Cortana was like, are you going to go down with your ship? And he goes, no, I'm going to try and land on it. So now you're out in space, and you see the Pillar of Autumn going down towards Halo, and Cortana realizes, oh god, Keyes has switched to manual piloting. He's trying to pilot this entire ship, by himself, not like with the aid of me, an advanced supercomputer. This is where you learn that Captain Keyes is a complete badass.
I fucking love him so much.
so he's trying to land the whole ship on Halo, and you're also going toward Halo in your own lifeboat.
Yeah.
And then she's like, are we going to make it? And he goes, we'll make it, which is his third line of dialogue in the game and his last line of dialogue for 4 levels. Our boy is very stoic.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the first level, the Pillar of Autumn. Yeah. Level 2, called Halo. The first couple levels are just named after where they take place, which is kind of cool. Yeah. But they sound very dramatic and portentous because the names of locations are dramatic and portentous. So they made it. By they, I mean Cortana and the Chief. It was a bumpy landing. Everyone else died in the crash, which is sad. So you're in the middle of a huge sprawling level. This ain't the 90s anymore. Nope. Shooter levels aren't just a bunch of hallways. Now we can have these big environments. So you're in this like sort of Pacific Northwest style sort of forested area with these big tall trees and stuff like that and rock. It's really wonderful. There's some quiet music playing. It's very lonely because you're just there on this big place by yourself. Anyway, Cortana's like, fuck, enemy patrols are coming. You got to get into the hills. You're out in the open. So you walk for a ways. You evade enemy flying ships who are trying to shoot at you. You can't shoot at them. I mean, you could, but you don't want to. So you're just like, whatever. So you're just trying to hide behind trees and avoid them. Eventually, you see a large concrete structure, which is our first introduction to the architecture on this place called Halo. You'll become very familiar with it over the course of the game. It's very brutalist. If I wanted to be flip, I could say the only reason that I'm even like a socialist is because I got into brutalism, and I got into brutalism because I played Halo.
Everything looks like a parking garage type.
Yeah, it's except way fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. I love it so much.
So there's this huge brutalist structure, and it keeps shooting these weird like beams into the air for no reason that's apparent. We don't know why. Maybe it's holding the whole thing together. And the funny thing is, this is a ring, right? So if you shoot something up, that means you're shooting it to the other side.
Yeah,
which is funny. Anywho, you find a friendly dropship. They're like, you're here, the Chief is here, the Chief is going to save us. So you defend them for a while, like a couple waves of ships. They're like, enemy dropships are coming, and then you go and you try to flank them, and you defend for a while. Then your friend, Echo 419, aka Foehammer, she's
man. Foehammer is
Foehammer, right?
Oh,
she is the dropship lady. Oh, earlier I said dropship, I meant to say escape pod.
Yeah.
So anyway, the game's resident dropship lady shows up and is like, hey, thanks for saving our buddies. I'm gonna take these buddies and go because we're all trying to rally all the troops. We're all just dispersed over this place. We're trying to get everyone together so we can be an army again. Here's a warthog. So she drops you a fucking cool ass vehicle. The game's famous for this vehicle. It drives in a very goofy manner. And she says, and as she's doing that, you see in the sky another escape pod is landing, and we're like, let's go get it. Let's go to those people who just crash landed and save them. She leaves 2 soldiers with you. So the warthog you drive, and then a soldier mans the back giant Gatling gun, and then also you got a soldier in the passenger seat who can pew 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 shoot enemies from the side. So then you drive through this big old tunnel, more taste of Halo architecture. You activate a big light bridge. You go through some cool shit. You go to the other side. Now, at this point, the first big important plot thing happens. Cortana starts talking to you in your head and is like, hey, Chief, turns out the Covenant are idiots, and they broadcast their radio chatter unencrypted. So I'm going to be listening into all this. And you're like, cool. Eventually, from her snooping, Cortana finds out that a good number of soldiers made it, a lot more than expected. Like made it off of the Pillar of Autumn. She's like, hey, let's find the captain, rally the troops, do resistance. So next we have to defend 3 different escape pods. We go over to this escape pod. We find them. They say, what's up, Chief? You defend from the Covenant. You go to the next escape pod. They say, hey, it's the Chief. You defend from the Covenant, right? After the second one, Cortana gets more intel. Oh, no. The Covenant found... So the Pillar of Autumn did land safely, but the Covenant found it and captured everyone on board, including the captain. So they've all been captured. Now, this is something cool, actually. I don't think I've ever experienced this. You find the third... landing pod, but there's no one in there. But there's also no dead bodies. So Cortana's like, these people must have landed and then left to go somewhere else. They must have gone somewhere safer. They must have escaped to the nearby cliffs. I think I always just missed this trigger. I think I always just went to the cliffs. You know what I mean?
I always just went to the cliffs too.
Yeah, that's a funny little optional dialogue there. Anyway, we get more cool architecture. The people who built the Halo, we might find out who that is later. They're really into concrete. They're also really into bottomless pits.
Yeah.
Every time you go into Covenant structure, it's like, and here's a bottomless pit with no railing. They're also just into not having railing in general. They didn't believe in railings, and further. Although all that they do exclusively use ramps, so they're very accessible.
Yeah.
Good on them. They're all ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Except that you got to make sure not to fall off the railing.
Yeah.
So anyway. That's basically it. So you're defending the third group from enemies, and Cortana says, "Oh, I figured it out. The captain and his crew are all being held against a disabled ship. This ship is a Covenant ship, but it can't leave. It's like, it's on the planet. And the ship is called the Truth and Reconciliation, which is cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Human ships always sound like they're like from like poetry or something. Mm-hmm. And frankly, Pillar of Autumn probably is from like Keats or something like that.
Yeah.
Or they're like references to like history. Covenant ships always they're basically all religious sounding.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. There's this sort of naming convention. So, we all get on board the dropship and say, let's go save the captain.
Yep.
So that's that level. Next is the level.
Oh, also, you keep saying dropship as if Pelican isn't the best name for the dropship ever.
You're right, yeah. So the dropship is called a Pelican, which is really cool. Yeah, this game is really weird about not telling you what things' names are, so I wasn't explaining it. But I'm sure that's in the manual.
Yeah. They also have said Pelican because when Foghammer first shows up, she's like Pelican coming in hot, dropping off Warthog or whatever the fuck.
That's right, and Cortana will be like Pelican inbound or whatever. Yeah. So we fly off to the Truth and Reconciliation. Now we get a cool nighttime mission.
Yeah.
Even though so the ship is in the air, it's like levitating a few hundred feet in the air. They're like, how do we get up there? She's like, well, there's a gravity lift that they use to transport things, so we're gonna go to the gravity lift and then go up there. Hitch a ride. So first we're in this canyon. It's nighttime. We have a sniper. Such nighttime mini sniping. It's very good. We have to be stealthy.
I was a little sad because I was like, oh yeah, it's a sniping mission. And I was remembering the sniping mission in Halo 3, which is exquisite, and this one was just okay. It's like, it's still a good level, but it's like I was remembering the wrong game. I'm like, oh yeah, this fucking level is going to be lit, and it was just okay. But
yeah, so we go through a bunch of little battlefields, and each one is stealthy, where this game doesn't have like stealth mechanics, but apparently in this game, enemies can't hear extremely loud gunshots.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they do kind of hear them. Their ears like perk up, but they don't know where it's coming from, right? So if you snipe an enemy,
the smoke trails are only there in multiplayer.
Yeah, the smoke trails are only there in multiplayer. So basically, they're like, Chief, you go forward, try to snipe the enemies, and the rest of the soldiers aren't going to fight until the enemies start to fight back. It's actually pretty fucking tough, even on heroic. So I would have to prioritize. Like, I used to be like, sniper bullets are like gold. They're very valuable. So I'm not going to waste them on grunts or jackals. I'm only going to use them on elites or grunts that are in turrets. But then I realized you have a shit ton of bullets.
Yeah.
Like over 100. So once I realized that, I was like, no, I'm just gonna snipe the grunts because otherwise they'll see me. You learn about a new enemy type here, the jackal. They're very weak, but they have shields in front of them, like Spartans, hilariously.
Yeah.
And apparently they have super good hearing and vision.
Yeah.
So they're scouts. So if you see a jackal, you want to shoot them. They're a lot easier to shoot when you're not fighting them, when you're doing stealth, because if they know you're there, they'll put their shield up towards you. But if they're not, they might be walking away from you, etc. So you shoot jackals, you shoot grunts, you shoot elites in the head, etc., and you fight through these canyons. Eventually you get to the gravity lift and you fight many waves of enemies. The enemies are coming in dropships. The enemies are being sent down the gravity lift to fight against you. And then, in a dramatic moment, sort of the climax of this section of the game, you learn about the fourth and final enemy type, the hunters.
Yep.
Hunters are cool. Sham, you want to explain how cool hunters are?
So hunters are Nullzilla from Reboot from back in the day, where it's a bunch of tiny worms that work together to be a big dude, and that big dude wears head to toe bulletproof armor, has a big ass shield and a big ass gun. They are practically invulnerable. The developer intended way to do it is when they as you basically run in close, they try to smash you with their shield. That will stretch out part of the armor where they'll have a weak spot, and then you can shoot them like that. At least on easy, you can just unload a needler at them, and the homing will find those spots for you, and you can blow them up. So I was sad it was so easy on easy, because traditionally a hunter shows up, whatever you were doing, you put it down because you got to take care of this guy because he's a big.
So what's really cool about hunters is that this game had co-op, right? Hunters always show up in pairs. Mm-hmm. Well, hold on. So imagine there's only one hunter, right? Again, it's this big thing. Its main weak point is on its back.
Yeah.
It's on its back, around its waist, and so if you get behind it, you can shoot it dead. You still gotta shoot it a pretty good bit, although on some skill levels, like a single shot with a sniper or a pistol will down them.
Yeah.
But like with assault rifle, you gotta shoot them a bunch.
Yeah.
But so if it's just one, it makes sense, They try to attack you, you dodge around them, you shoot them in the back. Or if you're playing with two players, it makes sense. Your friend is the bait and fights them, aggroes them, to use that term, and then while your friend's fighting them, you go around behind and shoot them, right? Makes perfect sense. Here's the thing. They always show up in twos. Mm-hmm. In fact, the twos are a bonded pair. They're married. Yep. Which is really cute.
Yeah.
So anytime you find two, they're a bonded pair. So again, you've got this enemy that's perfectly designed for a 2-on-1 battle, but it's actually 2-on-2 battle.
Yeah.
So you're trying to bait and trap one of them while there's also another one.
Yeah.
But with single player, it's a lot tougher. But you also have your enemy, your friendly AI, your soldiers, who are actually pretty smart. The enemy AI is pretty smart in this.
I have some memorable moments that completely disagree, but we'll get there.
I used to always think that the buddy AI sucked. Whenever me and my friends would play this game, we'd be like, yeah, ignore your buddies. They're all going to be dead soon. This playthrough, I was having to rely on them. I was having to think about my buddies.
I think combat-wise, they're okay, but just generic NPC AI, they don't got a goddamn intelligence point at all. It's bad. So, earlier, Warthog level, right? So, I go up to the one in the cliffs, and I drive up to the cliffs to, initiate that part of the cutscene so I can move on. And they dive out of the way, except out of the way is directly in front of me. And then they stand up and are just, walking around like it's nothing. And then they walk behind me and they fence me in on all four sides. And enough people killed themselves by diving in front of my tires that I got it's basically in Ocarina of Time. If you hit a chicken too many times, the chickens all turn on you. That happens in Halo if you team kill too much. and I got that death because enough people dived under my tires.
That could happen sometimes. I mean, it's definitely glitchy and goofy, but when they're acting the way they're supposed to act, they're really smart and really useful. And this is the first time I've ever played this game. I guess I'm smarter than I used to be, where I was like, seeing the value in working with them, seeing the value in keeping them alive, and then when they all died, instead of just being like, well, that's how the game goes, I'm like, fuck, they were useful. I guess maybe I'm smarter than I used to be tactically, but worse at shooters than I used to be.
Yes.
so I have to be smarter because I'm not as good at shooting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, point is, you, one actual player versus two hunters with backup is really, really fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, you beat the hunters and you go up the thing. And here there's a really cool little segment, a cool little set piece, like Sam was mentioning, where you're in sort of just like a cargo hold of this ship. And you're like, there's no one here. It's
like,
quiet.
Cortana even is like, there's no life signs aboard. And she's like, like, did they just not guard their prisoners of war? Like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, you're like, it's quiet, too quiet. And then the most New Jersey man in the world is like, hey, where the Covenant at? Hey, Chief, how come they ain't no enemies? And then one of the doors to the cargo hold opens, and nothing comes out. Except something did come out. This game has enemies that are invisible.
Yep.
It's a really cool little, it's almost like a little horror movie moment. You know what I mean? These invisible, they're invisible and they have a giant, there's two things that are new at the same time. Invisible and have a giant lightsaber.
Yep.
Which in this game are called energy swords. Yep. I love energy swords. In this game, you don't get to use them. In Halo 2, you do get to use them.
And they're the best.
So the funny thing is they're invisible, but their sword is not invisible. So you just see a giant floating energy sword.
Yeah.
Oh, one quick thing that is a neat little plot lore thing. One reason the Covenant are so dangerous is because they have these energy shields. These shields that absorb, like the kind of shield that you would use on a like in Star Trek, but for a person. These energy shields really protect their users a whole lot, and all the elites, the lead bad guys, have energy shields. What helped to turn the tide of the war is that they reverse engineered the energy shields, and the Spartans' armor have the same energy shields. So, if you think about it, elite, I think it's implied that a single gold elite and Master Chief are like mirrors of each other. They are a mirror match. Like, one of the most powerful elites versus one Spartan is an equally matched combo, which is why it's cool that you kill hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is, though, because they don't the energy shield lights up. It's like glowy. So invisible enemies don't have energy shields.
Yeah.
So they're actually pretty easy to kill. They don't have a lot of health. You tear them down pretty quickly, but they're invisible, and they have a sword that one hit kills you.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's a neat little thing. The shields aren't invisible. The shields are only visible if you shoot them. So if you shoot in the multiplayer, if you shoot a person that's invisible, they light up because their shield absorbs the bullets, and all of a sudden they're not invisible anymore. But if you shoot an invisible elite, they don't light up because they don't have shields.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the thing.
It's cool.
You do lots of dumb stuff. You have to fight, frankly, too many waves in one of the rooms.
Too many waves, too many identical hallways, too many waves that open up hallways that you think is the way to go, but no, they just wanted verisimilitude on where all the enemies came from.
Yep. I don't mind the endless hallways. It is a ship. It is a maze. But when you're in that big hangar, there's a lot of waves.
Yeah.
Did not need to be that many waves. Anyway, this level goes on for a while. Covenant architecture is everything is fucking. They're such cartoon aliens. Like everything is purple and blob shaped.
Yep.
They're crates. It's like instead of a crate being a rectangular prism, it's always got beveled edges and shit like that. Yeah. It's really, really funny. It's again, this is the plot of this game is serious hard sci-fi, but the aesthetic is kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I've always loved Halo. Bright colors. Again, all the alien shit's purple, which is, the color of aliens.
Yes.
They all have colored blood, which is a throwback to old games where if your blood was colored, it's like it wasn't blood, so you wouldn't get marked as a adults only rating.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. You can shoot people in the head as long as their blood is pink on the other side.
Exactly. So anyway, eventually you find the captain. In which case you actually get a little bit of plot, because up until now it's just been fuck, let's get the troops together, right? You get Captain Keyes, and he's like, I'm not dead. Thanks for rescuing me, Chief. Hey, I overheard some guards talking. Oh, FYI, I'm not going to explain it. You have to look it up because it's funny, but if you're wondering, there is a reason why all the aliens speak English. It's Sam, do you know?
I vaguely remember.
Actually, I'll tell you. Basically, while they are preparing to go kill all the humans, they're rallying all their troops, hey, we discovered humans, our religion says they're evil, we gotta go kill all of them. They were let's all learn the human languages and primarily practice speaking them and get used to speaking them all the time as an intimidation tactic.
Nice.
So, well, first of all, so that they can intercept our language, but also it's if they speak English in combat, then they can freak us out. So they all speak English. It's really funny. There's more to it than that, but that's basically it. So they're doing it on purpose. They totally lampshade it. Anyway, so he overhears some people talking. This big ring we're on is called Halo. That's the name of the game. Turns out that Halo is super important to them and their religion. It's not just some random place. He heard that whoever controls Halo controls the fate of the galaxy. Halo is some kind of powerful weapon. Oh no. Turns out the Covenant are looking for the control room, aka the control room of the entire Halo. We gotta get there first. So now our new plot is, it turns out that this Halo is more than just a place. Turns out the whole fate of the galaxy is at stake. We got to get control of Halo before the enemies do.
Yes.
So you try to escape. Fohammer says she's engaged in a dogfight and can't pick us up. You'll have to find another way to escape. You decide we're going to steal a Covenant ship. Captain Keyes, being, again, a complete badass, says, yeah, I know how to fly this thing. So you steal a Covenant... You steal the same kind of Covenant dropship that you've been fighting off this whole time. And we do that. And that's it.
They fly in an opposite direction than I thought that they would. So, earlier, you just see them, swoop in and drop people off. And they're shaped like a Y-wing in Star Wars, but they fly the opposite direction. Their arms face forward, not backwards. And it's weird.
Yeah. The forks go forward. It's like a pod racer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's my entire life, I always thought that they flew the other way until I rewatched this cutscene this morning. And I'm like,
oh, really? Oh, no, I've always loved that about them.
That's so wild. But.
So, next level, again, a great name called the Silent Cartographer, which just means the map.
Yeah. Also, speaking of good level names, the one we just did where we escaped from the ship is called Shut Up and Get Behind Me, Sir.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So in addition to levels having names, the levels also all have chapters where the screen will be briefly letterboxed and give you a little title, and those all have names that are either funny titles or dramatic, portentous titles.
Yeah.
Anyway, Silent Cartographer. So even though the end of the last cutscene said we got to go to the control room, we now start doing the next level to learn that it's a filler level.
Yep.
It's mostly, even though it's most people's favorite level.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite level, really, even close. I find it middling, but
it has
a lot of
my
people
most
really love
memorable moment from Halo 1. When I think of Halo 1, I think of the Hunter fight, and this level's...
there we go, yeah. Yeah, but it's a great level, and this level, funny enough, was actually the vertical slice of the game. When they were first showing off the game, they're like, what level has... this is the first level that they finished, because it has, everything.
Yeah.
It's relatively open-ended. The level takes place on an island, and you can actually do objectives in various orders, which is cool. And it's all about guerrilla combat. Go around this enemy group and then flank them, stuff like that. It is a really great level. It doesn't have the dramatic oomph of what comes later, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, why are we going here? Because we don't know where the fucking control room is. So first we gotta go to the Silent Cartographer, which is a map room. And if we can go to the map room, not only can we find out where the control room is, but we'll have a detailed map of the entire installation, which is, gonna help us do do army. There is a few little bit of plot things, because this game does have a little bit of a slow burn. Spoiler alert, the hook of this game hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
This game is a really slow burn. I really love how they play their cards close to their chest.
Like, we've mentioned reading the book for this game. We haven't named a drop of the book for this game, and won't until next episode, because the name of the book for this game is named after the plot twist that is the main hook of this game that has not happened yet halfway through the game.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting how they keep their cards close to their chest. So anyway, so we're just doing plot. Meanwhile, Cortana says something like, or no, Keys says something over the intercom. Keys is like, hey, go get the silent cartographer, Chief. By the way, we're almost at the destination. We might lose signal. Mm-hmm. What is the destination? Is Keys on some other mission that they've talked about between cutscenes? Yes, he is. That's exactly what's going on. So Keys is doing something else, but we don't know what it is. The mission fucking slaps. Another drip of world building is that the Covenant seem to know weirdly a lot about how to use this totally alien technology. They managed to lock a door, for example. We want to go to the map room, and Cortana's like, they locked the door. Weird that they know how to lock the door, considering we don't know who built this entire thing, and all of these things are inscrutable runes. Why would they know so much about this? We
also get a slight... it's kind of a theme of the first 3 Halo games where the Covenant definitely want to kill us, but they also kind of weren't expecting us always. And so in this scene, in this level with the silent cartographer, there's so many, like, you walk into rooms where the Covenant is, like, not doing army. They're, like, hanging around doing, like, something on the walls, and you show up and they freak out, and then you do army against them. And
so the Covenant have goals here that are not just killing you.
Yeah.
Which is neat. You don't know what it is, but it's neat. So there's actually a lot of groundwork being laid in this filler level. So anyway, you also meet Gold Elites for the first time. Wow, they are tough.
Yep.
So you finally get... So after, again, some side quests, you finally get to the map room, which is the end of I just skipped the whole level. Cortana is like, opens up the map, and she's like... she goes, seems like the control room is in a shrine or temple. That's kind of a weird place for a control room. Lol, Cortana, you sweet baby, you know nothing of the lore of this series. If she'd read the books and had played the games that come after this one, she would know that it makes perfect sense that the control room is in a shrine or temple.
Yep.
This game has a lot of religion in it. On the way out, lots of invisible elites, lots of cool hunter fights. Foehammer tells us that we've lost contact with Keys. Oh no. Either they're in a weird place with interference, or their equipment malfunctioned. Welp.
Yep.
Cortana is like, here's the coordinates. We gotta fly our ship underground through a big tunnel. And we're like, cool. That's the end of that level. Next level. Assault on the control room. It starts with us being in a tunnel underground, even though we're a plane. We show up, and a grunt looks the plane dead in the eye and is like, I didn't expect to see a plane underground. And then we jump out and we shoot the grunt.
Yep.
We fight through a little room. It's still all indoors. And then, all of a sudden, whoa, we're on this huge bridge. It's a cool sci-fi bridge in a giant canyon down below. It's snow. We're in a snow level. I love snow levels. It's way below. We can, even though Sam told me it's fake, we can see the level we're going to later down below us. It's huge. Then a plane crashes down below. Oh, one of our planes. Oh shit, there's our guys. They crashed down there. Let's go down there. Then you have a battle on the big bridge. Sam, if you wanted to do a joke, you could play a song, but it's actually Battle of the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V.
Yes. I was just thinking about Battle of the Big Bridge from Final Fantasy V.
Yeah, that's why I wrote that. So then this level, I'm going to skip past it because we're running out of time, but there's actually a lot of cool, again, like military style, like plot, excitement, movement that doesn't really matter in the overall plot, but it's very exciting. You end up going down to the ground. You get to a huge snowy battlefield. Basically, everything that hasn't been revealed so far in the game is now revealed. You get the rocket launcher for the first time. You fight ghosts for the first time, which are an enemy ship that you can drive. You fight wraiths, which are an enemy tank that you can't drive.
Yet.
Yeah, not in this game.
Yeah. So when you get on Truth and Reconciliation, there's like the place you land has a bunch of wraiths in it. I'm like, this would be easy as shit if I could just get in this fucking tank and blow everybody to sky high.
So you learn all this stuff. You learn that you can drive a warthog, which means that you cannot do any weapons, but your buddies in the back and in the side can shoot, which means it's pretty good. Or you can drive a ghost, where you can drive and shoot, but you don't have any backup. There's pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get to the next area, and a tank.
Yeah.
So now you get to kick ass in a tank. The tank in this game is so OP that they had to nerf it for future games.
Yeah.
You have a crazy powerful Gatling gun that you can fire constantly, and then also a giant ass cannon that is on a recharge. This game does not have vehicle damage. Well, sort of. You have your own health. If the enemies can still shoot you and you die, but and then your tank also blows up. But like the tank itself doesn't have like damage, so it can take as much damage as you want.
The tank's name is Scorpion, but if you are our age, the tank's name is Sheila.
Yes. So, God, I love this level. The tank goes into a huge artificial tunnel. There's underground battles, even, then you go back up. There's more tank fun. Then you go down a big spiral. There's more buddies. Oh no, a conspicuously placed pillar. R.I.P. tank. The game literally has an ice tunnel, and in the middle of the ice tunnel is a big concrete pillar that's just there so that you can't take your tank through the ice tunnel.
Yep.
You can if you try.
There was one earlier, the same thing with Warthog on the Silent Cartographer. It was we need to go to the interior of this island to continue, and there's just like a rock right there, and you're just like, well, damn it.
Yep. Now, if you try hard and believe in yourself, you can definitely get past these obstructions and get your tank or warthog through, but I didn't feel like it. I was like, whatever, game.
Yeah.
Then there's more big snow battles. Then you see 2 bridges up ahead. So then you go into the cliff again. You go elevator. You do room, elevator up, bridge, room, bridge, room, elevator down, room. All of these rooms are like circular little they're all the same size, but they all have slightly different layouts, and they're all just these circular little battlefields, and they're all super exciting. They're all differently laid out. They all have different enemies. A lot of them, the enemies are asleep, which is hilarious. This is also where the game's #1 big strategy appears, which is that you can just run past the enemies. A big part of this game is realizing, wait, I don't have to kill all the enemies.
Yeah.
Sometimes running past them is actually harder because there's so many that they shoot you in the back and you die, right? But part of the game's strategy is knowing when it might actually be a better strategy to just run past them.
The other part that is Halo to me. So Silent Cartographer with the 2-on-1 hunter fight, and then this level. There's a part where you come up from out of ground, and there was like an escape pod or something there, and there's some Marines, and they're like, thank God you're here. We're hold down like a motherfuck, and then there's this just huge ice canyon with like 1,000 Covenant on it, and you just gotta do it. And
to me, that is Halo. Yeah. It's just like, here's a huge battlefield. It's already going, and there's so many options. You can... so the enemies, the ghost vehicles will be driven by either grunts or elites. And here's the thing: this game doesn't have vehicle jacking yet. So if you want to blow, they're very dangerous. So you have a rocket launcher though. So what you can do is you can blow up the vehicles. But if you blow up the vehicles, then you can't use them. Another thing you can do is you can try to snipe the vehicles, but that's very difficult. They move fast. But if you're good, you can snipe the guy driving it and then take it. But if you're real smart, you can shoot a rocket launcher or grenade close enough to kill the driver, but not close enough to blow it up.
Yep.
And that's generally what you're going to want to try to do. You kind of get a feel for it. It's just, or you can just ignore it and just say, whatever, I'm going to drive a warthog. There's so many options. It's beautiful. Anyway, you finally enter the final big canyon. You're on a bridge, and you see a giant brutalist, ziggurat. And Cortana says, that must be the control room. subtle. It's not subtle at all. Then, when you're on this bridge, you immediately see a Banshee. That's a Covenant flying craft at the end of the bridge. And the game triggers a scripted scene where as soon as you enter the bridge, after a second, an elite jumps into the flying craft and starts flying it. If you're real fast, you can shoot that elite, and then you can get the flying craft.
Yep.
The game doesn't intentionally give you a flying craft until level 8.
Yeah.
But we out here doing it on level 5 because I went fast. So then I skipped a decent bit of the level. I actually forget how much more level there is here. I think you have to fight through a bunch more rooms, go down to the bottom of the canyon, rally troops, fight your way through the canyon, go to the control room, climb up many levels of ziggurat. Anyway, I skipped all that. I fly directly into the fucking control room's door and end the level.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, final cutscene. Chief puts Cortana in the mainframe, and she turns into a giant hologram girl, and she's like, yes, awesome, I'm absorbing all the information, I'm learning so much. But then as she's learning stuff, she's like freaking out. So she's like, whoa, wait, what am I learning? What? Whoa. And Cortana and Chief, who speaks now for the first time in, again, 4 levels, he's like, whoa, slow down. I don't understand what you're saying. She realizes that he's like, Halo's a weapon. How do we use it? And she's like, you rube. Halo's not a weapon. It's something way more important than just something as silly as a weapon. And he's like, I still don't understand what you're saying. You need to use your words. And then she again double takes again, and she goes, oh my god, the mission that the captain was on, you need to go get him right now. And he's like, what? And she goes, there's no time. Get the fuck out of here.
In a really awesome way, Master Chief just does it like he doesn't question. He just turns and just books it.
Yeah, one reason there's a little dialogue in this game is that if someone tells Chief to do something, he doesn't even say, Roger, he just does it.
Yeah.
What's cool is that even though he's way more powerful than anybody, his rank is below that of Captain Keyes. He's a military man. He respects the chain of command, so he just does what he's told. But he's such a hero regardless. He's awesome. Anyway, yeah, so he just fucking runs out the door. So to give a little bit more context, basically, to remind you, at this point you do find out that apparently the private mission that the captain was on, he had taken some Marines to go to a weapons cache. Basically, they're like, somewhere on this ring is a big, a big warehouse with a bunch of alien guns in it. That sounds like it's good. We should go get that. Turns out whatever it was not a weapons cache, and you gotta go fucking stop whatever they're about to do.
Yep.
And so that's it. We'll find out. We'll find out what that is next week. It's the main plot of the game.
Yeah, we were going to do one more level where we learn what that is and we see what the
end on like a cliffhanger. But we decided that this is
a real good cliffhanger too, because it's just like
because the first arc of the game is rally the troops, get to the control room. Now we've done that, and it's like, oh no, something terrible has happened, but Cortana doesn't even have time to tell us what it is. Also, I just want to bring up, in case it's not being clear, Cortana stayed in the control room.
Yeah.
So the first half of the game is all you and your buddy Cortana. The rest of the next bit of the game is you are alone.
Yeah.
Which gives the game a different flavor. It's very interesting.
It's used to great effect in the next level.
Yeah. Cortana knows what's going on. You don't. And you're going to go to a place that we already said we don't have reception. And we're going to go have some spooky times next week.
Yeah. All right. So let's listen to some more kick-ass Marty O'Donnell music and we'll talk about our memorable moments. All right. So, I had a couple like plot memorable moments. We basically hit them all because there wasn't a lot of plot to talk about. But I had some Halo memorable moments.
Yeah, I have very few, so you can take some time.
Yeah, but so one that I had was in it was in the Silent Cartographer, but it wasn't the main hunter fight. That big set piece that was like the hardest thing for me to conquer when I was a wee babby. I had a fully loaded Needler and I took him down in 4 clips because that's all it takes. Hunters are like bullshit easy on easy with a Needler because homing and explosive and all that.
When I was a kid, me and my friends would always joke that the Needler was like a terrible weapon. Like if you were playing on multiplayer and you killed someone with a Needler, it was seen as like disrespect, right? But I think I was just stupid and didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
The Needler is a fine weapon. Now it is still stronger in the later games, but weird. It's a great weapon.
Yeah, it for some stupid reason was on the dual wield list for Halo 2, and 2 Needlers is beyond overpowered. But
yeah.
So the Needler, since we haven't even talked about it, is an SMG sized machine gun that shoots big crystal bullets that stick out the top of it, and so it has the best reload animation in the whole series because it like porcupines out its needles on top, which is awesome.
Also, when you melee someone with it, you're smacking them with the spiky needles.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Interestingly, it's the only Covenant weapon that fires projectiles and has ammo. Most Covenant weapons use energy batteries to fire lasers, and they even find human. They keep talking about how human projectile weapons are very crude and like caveman like an explosion makes a bullet go. How simple! But then they're like, oh no, they're really good at killing us. Turns out projectile weapons hurt.
Yeah.
Even though they're primitive.
But yeah, so the Needler, the crystals when you shoot them, they can bounce once before they blow up, and they also can home slightly. And if enough of them stick into your opponent, the crystals overcharge and explode and do explosive
They all explode
damage.
at once, so they all attach, and then they all go poof.
Yeah.
If you don't get enough to make the explosion happen, it's not a very good weapon.
Yeah.
But if you have enough time to unload like a whole fucking clip, like they're dead.
Yeah, it's fucking great. But so I did that first one with the full clip, and I'm like, man, easy is so easy. I'm not even afraid of hunters whatsoever. I'm just gonna go in, and everything will be great. But I used 4 clips on those hunters, so I get down inside, and there's the room where it's like a Y-shaped room, and they come from opposite ends to flank you, and there's boxes everywhere.
I ran past those bitches.
Yeah, I tried, but I couldn't get past them. I mean, I probably could have distracted them and got around them, but like this thing that happened is synonymous with playing Halo to me. So I go in there, my pistol is out of ammo completely. I have 3 Needler shots and and all 8 grenades. So I have I had 13 because I had enough for 1 clip and then 3. And so I did my first clip into the first hunter, then stickied him and jumped immediately to get behind a crate so that he wouldn't blow up on me. Because the plasma grenades that the Covenant use are sticky and they'll stick to the target.
And they have a long fuse.
Yeah.
So after you stick it to the enemy, they've got like 5 whole seconds to run up in your face and kill you too.
Yeah, and that happened a lot. Like it took me like 7 tries to like John Wick out. How do I do this with only 13 Needler shots and 4 grenades? And it was awesome. Finally, eventually taking them down. And those are the sort of things that I think are important on why Halo became a phenomenon, because that would happen in the campaign. You bring your friends over to play multiplayer. That happens constantly in the multiplayer. I think Rooster Teeth still to this day has a Halo screenshot of the week where people just submit the crazy shit that happened while they were playing Halo.
This game has a very different design philosophy. Most shooters previously, like look at Half-Life for example, had it like most of those old shooters, you have however many guns, you have all your guns at once. So you use your hotkeys on your computer. 1 to switch to the pistol, 2 to switch to the machine gun, 3 to use the shotgun, 4 to use the rocket launcher. And also generally grenade is a type of weapon. This game is unique in 2 main ways. 1, you can only hold 2 guns at once.
Yeah.
So it's a constant strategic decision. Do I want 2 weapons that are both general purpose, like a pistol and an assault rifle, that are both very useful all the time and have lots of ammo? Or, there's a rocket launcher. If I replace my assault rifle with the rocket launcher, that's very handy. But then once that rocket launcher is out of ammo, then all I have is a pistol. Shit. So what if I get a rocket launcher and a sniper? That is 2 specialized, special limited purpose weapons. I have no general weapon. I did like half of Assault on the Control Room with a sniper and a rocket launcher. Yeah. It was very gratifying. Anyway, the other thing is that weapon is right trigger, grenade is left trigger, and melee attack is B. Usually it used to be that melee attack was also a weapon. Like in Half-Life, crowbar is one of your weapons. So you have access to all 3 of these things at the same time. Those are I think the 2 main innovations of this game's control scheme and this game's basic mechanics. Yeah, and it allows for these broad improvisational battles.
That also brings up when Halo came out, Xbox Live didn't exist. When you played Halo with your friends, all of you brought your Xbox boxes and you plugged them up into a router together to play over LAN like a goddamn
you could
PC
play
game.
Online by tricking your Xbox into thinking it was doing System Link, but really it was doing the internet.
Yeah, and so you would. I just meant in person. I never even tricked you to go online.
Yeah, you could do that. There were rooms.
Nice, but so everybody would show up together to have a Halo party. Like a Halo party means something to me because it's what happened back in the day. And so with at Halo parties, everybody's chosen control scheme kind of became like their part of your identity. And so for me, melee is not on B. Melee is on left trigger because I run up, get in your face, and I punch you. And so for me, I'm constantly punching way more than I'm using grenades. And so grenades, at least on Anniversary, I put to a bumper because it uses the Halo Reach controls. But yeah, it's way different, and I love it. And so you saying that just reminded me of that whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, you would hate to, like, it's okay if you pick up somebody's controller and they play Boxer, you get used to it pretty quickly, but not if they fucking play Southpaw. Like, people who play Southpaw are broken.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You should go to jail. I don't believe in jail, except for people who play Southpaw. So one of my memorable moments is, I really, also a gameplay thing, I love how they introduced the sniper in level 2 as a relatively optional thing. On some of these whole you gotta defend the escape pod thing. Sometimes it's like, oh look, here's a sniper by the escape pod. You can use this and hole up in the big plateau thingies and snipe some enemies. You don't have to though. You can also just get up in their face. So they introduce the sniper and then let you play around with it if you want. And then level 3 is the big sniping mission. That's just smart. It's just smart design.
The smart Silent Cartographer is the first appearance of the rocket launcher, which then becomes important when you're facing Banshees. And it's great. They do that very well.
Wait, there's a rocket launcher in Silent Cartographer?
Oh, you must have missed that whole side quest, for lack of a better term.
You mean the other prison room?
No. The crashed Pelican on the backside of the island.
Oh, sorry. You were saying Silent Cartographer, and I was saying Truth and Reconciliation. Yeah, no, totally. I got that.
Yeah, okay. I was it was a big old deal with a crashed Pelican.
Yeah, there's a crashed Pelican that you can go to or not go to, and it's got some heavy weapon. It's funny though. Cortana is like, oh, let's get all the heavy weapons that are inside. But this game has one heavy weapon. It's the rocket launcher because they haven't made more weapon types yet.
Yep.
It's cute. Also, I said that every single element of the game is now in place, except for the big twist. There is one left, one weapon that has not been introduced. If you play lots of shooters, you definitely know the main staple shooter weapon that hasn't shown up yet. It'll show up next week. It's the best weapon in the game. Another thing I love is, my other memorable moment is this guy named Sergeant Johnson. So Sergeant Johnson is an unnamed Marine. He's just one of the Marines that shows up whenever you're fighting with NPC Marines, which means he can die constantly, but he also keeps being alive. It's kind of funny.
Yep.
But he also, and he in the next game, he's introduced as a named character, and it's like he's one of the main characters, and he and Chief are like buds, or it's like a buddy movie kind of thing, which is funny. But he does have a few lines of dialogue that aren't just NPC dialogue, because he's in the opening cutscene of the game. So in the opening cutscene, when all the different soldiers are getting ready for the to fight the Covenant, who are about to board the ship, Sergeant Johnson rallies the troops, right? And what's cool is that every difficulty level, he has a different little speech, which is really cute.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. So on Heroic, he says, where is it? Here it is. He goes, "Men, here's where we show these split-chin, squid-head sons of bitches that they could not have picked a worse enemy than the human race. We are going to blow the hell out of those dumb bugs until we don't have anything left to shoot them with. And then we're going to strangle them with their own living guts. Am I right, Marines?" And on Easy, which what you were playing, it's a lot simpler. He just says, "Men, keep your eyes downrange, fingers on the triggers, and we all come home in one piece. Am I right, Marines?"
That's awesome, though.
Am I right, Marine?
I never even noticed, because we usually played on normal or heroic.
Hell, I'll read all of them. So on normal, he says, "Once again, it is our job to finish what the Flyboys started. We are leaving this ship's platoon and engaging the Covenant on solid ground. When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away, laughing. Am I right, Marines?" What happened is he says, "Am I right, Marines?" And they say, yes, sir. And he goes, damn right I am. And then on Legendary, he says, "Men, we led those dumb bugs out to the middle of nowhere to keep them from getting their filthy claws on Earth. But we stumbled onto something they're so hot for, they're scrambling over each other to get it. Well, I don't care if it's God's own anti-son-of-a-bitch machine or a giant hula hoop. We're not going to let them have it. What we will let them have is a belly full of lead and a pool of their own blood to drown in." Am I right, Marie?
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's real good.
That one also gives you lore, in case you didn't read the manual, but who would play on Legendary if they haven't read the manual?
Yeah, it actually gives you lore. It's like, oh, the Covenant are really excited about this thing,
and also we made a jump so they couldn't follow us to Earth. That was from the manual, not from the game as well.
Yeah, that's true. That is very cute. Yeah, at the end if you beat the game on Legendary, there's a special little bonus ending scene involving Sergeant Johnson where, again, he dies. But then in the next game, it's like, actually, he didn't.
Yep.
Who cares? This series is pretty loose on its lore consistency, which is kind of awesome, actually. I think it's a good thing and not a bad thing. I love it. It's like very pre-Marvel, pre-MCU, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for Halo. Do you have any more memorable moments?
No, I don't think so. I just think that Master Chief and Cortana are my mom and dad, and I love them. Yeah. And I'm so happy that they're not dysfunctional yet.
Yep. Even though this is from the books. So here's the thing. 2 Halo books came out before Halo 2 was even announced. And then a third one came out that links Halo 1 and 2. So if you're a big Halo fan, even if the sequels haven't come out, you do go read the books. So to share a little bit of plot from The Fall of Reach, which is a book that is a prequel, it ends with The Fall of Reach. I won't explain too much, but Cortana, for reasons that I will maybe explain next time, is kind of Master Chief's mom.
Yeah.
So they have a very special relationship.
And it's said explicitly so in Halo 4. So if you're like in Halo 4 at the very beginning.
Yeah, a lot of the subtext of the series becomes text later.
Yeah.
Which is neat. It's like, yeah, this is a really important emotional thread. the game itself is not going to mention it until the 4th game because the hero's very stoic and they're all just focusing on fighting the enemies. They're not talking about their emotions, but they do have them.
And it's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Cortana is Halo's mom.
But yeah, that's about all the time I've got. I got to get back to playing Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory on my PlayStation Vita video game console.
Hell yeah, I gotta go have coffee with somebody.
Yeah, but yeah, if you like these bonus episodes, I hope you do because there's a shitload of them this time of year. But if you like these bonus episodes and want more of them, you can hit us up on our Ko-Fi at www.kofi.com/rpgbookclub. Or if you can't remember that, there's links at our website, which is www.rpgbook.club. Has links to our socials and our Ko-Fi and our YouTube and articles to that. I'm probably going to make one soon. I really need to, but yeah. Also, if you are not experiencing this content evergreen and you are here in November of 2019, you should go and vote on our next game, either Danganronpa
also,
or...
go vote for Bernie Sanders in the election, please.
Today.
The election is today, literally today.
Yeah, it's the today recording, not the today... the today that they can actually vote on. So, sorry,
If you haven't
guys.
voted yet, for the love of God, people of the future, vote.
Yes. But, yeah, so, for RPG Book Club, I've been Sam Alman.
And I've been Maddie Webbin.
Finish the fight.
Hoorah!